Hey guys, it's Ari. I just wanted to kind of go over the orientation process with Swift while I'm here. I'm kind of on an iced overnight, so I got nothing better to do, so figured I'd make another video. Why not? For orientation for Swift, I went through it about 3 months ago, so this is pretty recent. It should be pretty much the same depending on where you're at. They might have little differences here and there. First of all, you're going to apply. You're going to get your follow-up call. They're going to tell you, okay, come on over here at this location. They'll send you to a terminal depending on where the closest terminal is. When you get there, they should have a hotel for you set up, so you just have to bring all the equipment and the essentials that they've given to you on the list. Just go ahead and make sure you get all those things just so that you have extras, because you don't need it all right away, but you want to get it all as soon as possible just to have it. Then you go ahead and you attend, you show up, you check in on the day of your orientation. The first day is just basically introductions. If you're in a group, you'll probably be just introducing yourself into a group, and I got lucky. I actually just had just me for the orientation class. It was just me and the guy who was orienting me, orienting, I don't know, in El Paso, Texas. So I got to go there, do orientation all by myself. So we got through the material pretty quickly. However, I was basically bored. We got done early, but I couldn't leave early, so I had to stay there for 2 hours or 3 hours on day one, just doing nothing. Day one is basically paperwork, introductions, drug tests. For me, they did the hair follicle test, so I guess that's probably what they're moving to right now. I've heard some earlier videos talk about just the regular urine test, but it looks like now they're doing the hair follicle test. So you want to make sure that you have hair to provide. I went in the day after a haircut, and I didn't know that they were going to do the hair follicle test, so I kind of had to make do. Hair off the arms and hair, in the back, whatever they missed the day before on my haircut. But once you do the drug test, you just basically sign more paperwork. You might do another drug test. I had to go to a separate place and do another drug test of urine. I'm not sure why they double tested me, but whatever. You do your drug test, paperwork, orientation. They're going to teach you, what they expect from you on the mentoring process, what they expect from you at the company. They're going to sell you the company. They're going to tell you, oh, you can make this much the first year. Don't focus on that so much. Just focus on, just signing the paperwork, paying attention to all the safety-oriented stuff. Make sure, you understand the pay scale. Make sure you understand what's going to happen in the next coming weeks. You want to make sure that you understand the whole process of orientation onto mentoring and what happens after mentoring, just so that nothing pops up and surprises you. So for orientation, day one, it's just mostly paperwork, drug tests. You introduce yourself, you get to know the guy, they provide lunch. The only thing you have to do is provide dinner for yourself afterwards, and you go back to the hotel and maybe you can order a pizza or whatever. So it wasn't that bad. It was just pretty boring. Now day two, from what I can still remember, we went over more videos. It was more about just general information about the trucks. What the anti-lock braking systems are on some of the trucks. The various models of trucks that they have. The usual videos from the CEO telling you they're glad for you to be working for them, and you're going to enjoy it. After that, it was more paperwork, more signatures, lunch again. They give you free lunch. I don't remember if the drug test results came back that day or the last day, but it's just basically more of the same. I got done early again, so I was pretty bored for like 2 or 3 hours just sitting there in the office. But if you're in a group, you got stuff to talk about, things to do to occupy your time. And I think that's when you start going through most of your learning material, your books. They give you various books that you can keep, other than the documents that they want you to sign. And those you have to go through just so that you understand the process. Like they have a student handbook where you learn, acronyms for safety and, what your pay scale is going to be like, what you can expect for the coming months. So that's the stuff that you want to pay attention to. If you have to watch the videos, I mean, you know basically what they're going to say to you. It's all pretty much common sense. Day number 3 is basically going to be wrapping up your paperwork. You'll get your driver number, your driver code. If you've been accepted, you'll get your offer of employment. Many times, my person leading my orientation was basically discussing with me all of the dedicated routes, the regional routes and stuff like that. He was saying, after mentoring, after you get on your own, do good, and then you can look forward to these things. And so I got in touch with a couple people, saved a couple numbers so that way I can get a regional route or a dedicated route later on. I think I'm actually eligible for one of those coming up on the 9th of December, so I'll be looking into those pretty soon. It's just finishing up paperwork, getting everything situated for your mentoring process. So you need your driver code. You need to make sure that they have all of your information correct. Just kind of network with people. Get your orientator's name and number. That way you can call them up if you have any issues. You want to know who your driver manager is going to be after mentoring. You want to know who's going to be handling you while you're in mentoring. You need to get those numbers just in case you have a problem with your mentor. Those are going to be the people that you call to get you, situated or relieve any issues you might have through the mentoring process and afterwards. So those are numbers that you want to have. You'll get your drug test results definitely by then. You won't move past that part if you haven't passed the drug test. And then you'll basically be told at the end of the day what's going on with your mentoring process. So you should be able to get in contact with your mentor by the end of the 3rd day. After you return to the hotel, maybe they'll have you call them while you're there. Maybe they'll just give you their number and say, hey, call them up. Get in touch with them, just say hi, so that way you have a voice to the name. And then sooner or later when you meet them, you'll add a voice to a face to that name. So that way they can tell you if you need anything extra. They can go over your checklist with you and make sure that you bring everything you're going to need for the mentoring process, because most people that I've heard from, they don't actually come back home during the mentoring process. So you want to make sure that you have everything you need. That way you don't need to make any stops. You don't need to go back home and get anything on the way out. You've got everything. You're all set and you're prepared. And if you need something on the road by then, you'll already be getting your pay. For me, it was $500 a week, but it was based on the 40 hours. So if I went over 40 hours, which I did pretty much every week because I was trying to get done as soon as possible, they do give you extra pay, so that's a good thing. It's not just $500 a week whether you drove 60 hours or 40 hours. You get $500 a week for that base 40, it seems like, and then afterwards they give you extra pay depending on how many hours you went over 40. So I've done like a 65-hour week, and I think I made almost I want to say 650. 650 was probably a good range right there. So either above or below. But I want to say I made almost $700 just driving pretty much out the max of 70 hours, around the max of 70 hours. So as long as you're really hitting it hard, you can get some good money in those first couple weeks. No matter what you do, you're basically going to make $2,000 for the mentoring process. So you just basically want to keep an eye on that and get that done as soon as possible. Get moving on to the paychecks, get your bonuses. Also talk with your recruiters and your orientators or your orienters or whatever. Talk with them about the bonuses. Make sure you understand that stuff very carefully, because for me, I thought that I was getting the bonuses during mentoring. So I was making my miles, and I was asking my mentor, hey, why didn't I get this bonus here when I drove these 1,000 miles, 3,000 miles, whatever? And my mentor said, oh, they didn't explain that to you? I said, no, they didn't explain that to me. They just told me, hey, once you get in the truck, this is how you're going to make your bonuses. This is how far you have to drive. And so he corrected me. Well, he corrected the recruiter, and he basically told me that those miles start once you are on your own. So the bonus miles, if they tell you you're going to get a bonus, right as soon as you get in the truck, you need to understand that that's after mentoring, when you're on your own, and you're actually making money on your own for the company. That's when you start to get those bonuses. So pay attention to that stuff. Make sure you know what you need to bring with you. Pay attention to all the books and the learning material that you get. You don't need to study that too hard. You kind of want to save that later for the mentoring process. You can go over that with your mentor, so that you're prepared for your upgrade test. But pretty much that was orientation. I mean, it was just day one. You learn faces, names of the people that are going to be in your class. You do your paperwork. You do your drug test. You go over some orientation videos. The usual stuff from the CEO. You get your lunch. Then you go back to the hotel. Day two is a little bit of the same. It's definitely a lot more videos. It's basically like 90% of the day is videos. Just trying to stay awake. I know it can be boring. I had trouble staying awake too during the whole thing, and I was alone, so I didn't have anybody else talking or to talk to or anything like that. So it was particularly boring for me. So just basically try to stay awake through day 1 and 2, and on day 3, I was pretty excited just to get into the truck and get on my way and start making some money. So day 3, you'll get your results, you'll get set up with your driver code, and all that other stuff, and hopefully you'll be calling your mentor by the end of the day, so that way you guys can exchange names and information. He can start giving you a little bit of tips on what you need to do to get ready for the road. But yeah, that's all I can think of. If you guys have any other questions about orientation, just feel free to let me know down below, and I'll go ahead and respond to you as soon as I can. Thank you.